Hi guys, welcome to Motivation Monday. And this week we are attacking something that a lot of people are probably feeling right now. It's that stress and anxiety, especially in our businesses. So we're going to be talking about the power of a reset day, what that means, and I'm going to give you a 5-step process on how you can become more effective and perform your mental reset. Okay, so who has a magic reset button in their lives that they can actually go back in the day, push the button, and start from scratch, having a ton more knowledge than you ever had before? We actually all have the ability to push that button, but we very rarely recognize it, and we do it properly far less often. A mental reset or a reset in your business basically gives you the opportunity to dig in, find out what's working, what's not working, where's your time actually going, and where should it be going so that you can be more effective. For what I see most of the time is that a mental reset is needed under 2 conditions. First of all, overwhelm. If you feel like you have too much on your plate and you just can't slow down and nothing you do is going to get things off of your plate, that's a sign of a mental reset day that is desperately needed. It seems impossible because you have so many things on your plate. How can you possibly take a day off to reorganize, because there's so many things you need to get off your checklist? And I understand, I've been in that spot before, but guys, it has to be done. I always go back to that little graphic. I'll see if I can find it, but it's basically there's a caveman pulling a cart and he's got square wheels, but he's in such a hurry to get to where he's going. He doesn't have the time to trade those square wheels out for the round ones that are in the back of his cart. So you just sometimes have to take a step back in order to take 5 steps forward. And I think especially in this market that we're coming up on, you really need to hone in on what you can do well and take full advantage of the things that you know how to do, and not waste time on things that may or may not make you successful, even though they're more demanding, or at least they appear to be more demanding. The other condition where a mental reset and a business reset may be needed is underwhelm. Sometimes we feel like there's nothing we can do. Sometimes we're not sure what we should be doing or if anything's working. And that's actually one of those things that most people just don't even think of, that they may need to take a step back from. There's nothing they can do, so they're just going to sit there and what I call ostrich, ostriching, and you're just going to stick and bury your head in the sand and just pretend like you can't do anything. And that might be a sign that it is time for a reset. But now that we know when it's time for a reset, let's talk about how you can actually make a reset happen. So I like to think of it as a 5-step process, because things are easier when they're in 3s, 5s, and 7s, just in case you didn't know. But the first step is going to be create your buckets. I'm borrowing this term from my friend Lisa Keys, who defines this in her branding material. If you need that spreadsheet, let me know. But creating your buckets, these are the big things that you need to do on a regular basis in your business. So for example, in my business, I am recruiting leads. I'm creating classes and events. I am providing value and additional content. And I'm working with our current clients to make sure that they are taken care of. So those are some of the majority of what I do. And they're the very broad spectrum pieces that make my job possible. And that was something I had to figure out for myself. A lot of times when you're in real estate or in any kind of sales position, it is not something anyone can really give you a roadmap for. I think that's something that a lot of people are disappointed in whenever they go into real estate. Yes, there are some things you should be doing, but you have to find what your core is. What's going to make you successful? For me, education is huge. It's that added value that I bring to the table. And I know that's something that people come to me for, and it makes me unique and different. So what are your big buckets. Maybe for real estate, your big buckets are open houses when you're just getting started. Maybe your big buckets are a unique niche in the luxury market or the farm and ranch market. Maybe it's commercial. Maybe it's recruiting commercial clients. So networking is a huge, huge piece for you. Maybe you really like to work with schools. And so you're marketing in the school network. So you're working that networking connection. So you have to really figure out what your big buckets are. A lot of new agents are going to have education as a big, big bucket, but as you go forward in your career, that's going to become less important. So classes and CE are going to become essential, but they're not going to become a core part of your business. But in the first year, finding out as much information as you can is extremely important to your success. Maybe shadowing other agents is also another big thing that you want to do in the first 3 months. And you have to figure out what those things are going to be. And they have to be within your control. You can't always assume that you're going to have leads. So for example, a lot of my newer agents don't necessarily have a lot of leads that have come in, so they don't have a lot to fall back on. Instead, what they really have to hone in on is lead generation activities. And those are going to be the open houses. Those are going to be maybe some educational opportunities for first-time home buyers, maybe seminars that they actually partner with a title company and maybe a lender to create and provide value, maybe a credit repair seminar, maybe a leasing or rental property seminar that you're hosting at let's say an apartment complex. So those are the things you focus in on. So create your 5 buckets, or if you were, another way to describe it is if you're making a job description, what are the 5 key job description things that you're going to be working on in your position? So are you a marketing person? Are you a finance person? Are you an educator, a trainer? You've got to figure out what those 5 core things are. And then secondly, number 2, we're going to number those 5 buckets from 1 to 5, meaning 1 is the most important thing that has to be done for your business to be successful. And 5 is the least important thing. It's still important, but it's the last thing in your list. Okay. So you have your 5 buckets and then you number them 1 to 5. Okay. So that's process 1 and 2. Now, step number 3, we're actually going to go in and start listing out subgroups or activities underneath each 5 of those buckets. So for anyone experiencing underwhelm, this is a great step because you're actually going to put your brain in gear and say, hey, what can I do? If my job is to find clients, that's my big bucket because I'm new or I'm restarting or I'm going from part-time to full-time and I'm really diving in. Finding clients is a big, big deal. If you're an experienced agent, more so it's going to be, how do I keep my clients? How do I keep them happy? So if your big bucket is keeping your clients happy, you're going to be like, so we're going to have pop by campaigns that we're going to be sending out. We're going to have a referral program that we're going to be working. We're going to have maybe a quarterly event just for your past clients and a special invite for their friends. And so you're going to start listing off these different activities and putting dates next to them of when you would like to have them accomplished, right? Okay, so step number 1, create your 5 buckets. Step number 2, number them 1 to 5. Step number 3, start listing out actual activities for those buckets. And then step number 4, you're going to take those list item buckets and move them over to a to-do list. Okay. And you're going to leave them on the to-do list from 1 to 5. And basically just make it a checklist. Okay. Some things are going to be daily, some things are going to be monthly, some things are going to be weekly. So you can figure out based on your organization style, what's going to be best and how to organize it. Some people love putting it into a physical calendar. So let's say they have a day that they're going to be working on those events once a month. They put it in their calendar for the next 6 months. Then let's say they have social media day that they're going to do. They put it on their calendar. Let's say you're more of a digital calendar person like me. You're going to put it in on your computer or your phone, or maybe you like a physical checklist. And I like to do this every day. Those are the days I'm most productive. And I have 1 through 5 for each of my activities that I'm working on to make sure that they get done and get done properly. So when I'm working through them, if I get all my 1s, 2s, and 3s done, I know I've accomplished something significant. I may not have gotten to the 4s and 5s, and they're important, and I'll get to them when I can, but it's not absolutely essential. And the number 5, when you're looking at your list, however you're working it, cut or delegate. There are many, many things you want to do that you cannot do well if you're trying to do the most important things. So look at your 4s and your 5s and start to think, what should and can I cut very quickly and very easily to be more productive at my job? Sometimes it's the social media. If you're an experienced agent and you have regular income coming in, you can pass some of that off. I will say anytime you're passing off any kind of social media, you need to make sure that you're heavily involved in the content creation and you're actually showing your face on the content, not just generic, hey, happy Monday stuff. It's not effective. Maybe you hire someone, you film, but then you hire someone to do the ads. You don't do the creative portion of it because that takes a lot of time. And if you're really good in front of clients on a day in, day out basis and you're out there in the streets, that's what you need to focus on. That's your 1 through 3s. If it's a 4 and 5 and it's something you can afford to get rid of it. If you need to keep it and you can afford to delegate it. When you're newer, that's a little trickier to do, but that is something to work towards. So anytime you're talking about things you don't enjoy doing, go ahead and keep them in the back of your mind. As soon as you can delegate it, you delegate it. Okay. So those are our 5 steps. Create your buckets or your 5 big things that should be done in your job on a regular basis. It's number 2, number them from 1 to 5 so you know which ones are actually important. Number 3, go ahead and create some activities. Number 4, create your to-do list, put them in with dates. And number 5, start cutting or delegating. Get rid of the fat, take out the things that don't matter. And if you have more than 5 buckets in the beginning, you need to cut a little earlier because you are doing too much. Your focus is too broad and you will not be able to concentrate on what you're doing. And that is the whole purpose of a reset, is to focus, to hone in on what makes you effective, what makes you productive, and what's really going to generate income for your business. And I don't care if you work for a large corporation. I don't care if you're just an individual agent. I don't care if you're a broker or an owner. It's important to know what is most important to your business, because without knowing that, you're never going to be successful, at least on the long term. So hone in. Don't waste your time and energy on things that don't matter, even if the world is telling you you need to do them. Other than CE, you need to do your CE. That needs to get done. And then find ways to be creative with your different opportunities for growth and change. And if it's something you really want to do and you want to carve out time for it, go ahead and do that. If you enjoy it, find a way to make it work for your business, because you can get creative like that. I hope this helps. Guys, go out there and do a little reset, relax your brain, take a step back. Don't feel like you just have to keep moving forward blindly, because if you're moving forward blindly in the wrong direction, you're wasting a lot of resources and possibly losing a lot of business. But stay focused, get in there, do your reset. What matters? What are your 5 big buckets? And start making your cuts and delegations. I love you guys. Message me with comments or content ideas. If you have thoughts on what you'd like me to cover, maybe a struggle you're having with in your business, please send me an email, write it in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback, because I am always on your side. Bye, guys.